Hello everyone! My name is Mike, and this is the Bored Cyborg. Alright, so today I'm going to try something a little bit different. As you guys could probably tell, I'm experimenting with a lot of different types of videos because there are so many different types of videos that I want to do. So, today I'm going to do an off-the-cuff mini review, I guess, of a movie that I am very fond of, Jackie Chan's First Strike. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to call these series of videos, probably something like Off the Cuff and then the movie, because I want to talk about more movies. I want you guys to kind of understand my taste a little bit more and all of that kind of stuff, and the ones that I script and, you know, with all the glitter and gold, I love doing them. I'm not stopping doing them, but they do take a good amount of time, usually 20 to 25 hours to fully produce. And like I said, not going to stop doing them, but I want to talk about more movies. And the what I've watched and the video journals, things like that, are ways that I could do that. So again, guys, I'm just kind of experimenting a little bit and seeing what works best for what I want to do. So like I said, today I'm going to talk about Jackie Chan's First Strike. Now, this film did pretty decently in America. This came right after Rumble in the Bronx, so people were starting to get their footing for what Jackie was all about in America. But in Hong Kong, this film did gangbusters. This stands as Jackie's highest-grossing Hong Kong film to date, as well as the third highest-grossing domestic Hong Kong movie of all time. So it was a huge movie over there, and not so much over here, and it should have been. I adore this movie. It is one of my favorite Jackie movies, but to say that, you know, there are 20 movies that I consider like 4 to 4.5 to 5-star films. This is one of them. I think it is right up there with Super Cop. I'm not sure if I like it a little bit more. I may, because it's just a little kookier and a little more off the wall. Both are damn... I love both films so much. Now, Police Story 1 and 2, they're a little bit more detached from 3 and 4, in my opinion, because it was when Jackie was starting to gain ground overseas and internationally, really. The first two are, in my opinion, perfect films. They're 5-star films, but they have a different vibe than Super Cop and this one here, First Strike. Part of that obviously has to do with the directors. Jackie Chan directed Police Story 1 and 2. Stanley Tong, who directed Rumble in the Bronx, and Super Cop also directed First Strike. Now, Stanley Tong is a more than capable action director. His films have kind of waned off over the years. I still really enjoyed Kung Fu Yoga. I know I'm in the minority there, but I love his directing style. He's got a kinetic energy to the way he lines things up and the way he directs his actors, and there's just a cheesy's not the word I want to use. There is such charm, such appeal to Stanley Tong and Jackie Chan films. Whenever they work together, I think the charm just emanates from the screen, and I can't help but love them. Like I said, I really enjoyed Kung Fu Yoga, and even the dance part at the end. I don't know, man. I was so giddy watching that. It was just great to see. It seems like when they get together, they have a damn good time making the film. Obviously, Jackie, you know, he's very serious when he's making his movies, but at the same time, you know, he's Jackie, so he's goofy on set, you know, which we could see in some of the outtakes in a lot of these films, which this one does have. So, let's go over the story a little bit for this one. It's, you know, it ain't gonna win any awards for story. Now, this is essentially Jackie's James Bond, you know, Jackie's Bond film, or Mission Impossible, or something like, well, I feel like every Jackie Chan film is his Mission Impossible, but that's the vibe that this one goes for, and I think it nails it on the head. It kind of parody, but not really. It sort of balances on the line of parody and just straight up Bond-inspired action. So much so that the score is actually really damn good and catchy, and it's just a grandiose, sweeping score with a really catchy melody. They don't do the, you know, the Police Story theme song, dun 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 dun, that Jackie Chan sings, but so they ditched that for more of a James Bond vibe, and it's very John Barry. It's even got that you know, like the trumpet, like that, just that James Bond feel, and I love the score. And the motif is definitely something that John Barry or a Bond film would have used. It feels like it fits right in with that world. So Jackie plays Jackie, like he does in Police Story 1, 2, and 3. At least here in America, they call him Jackie. I believe his name overseas in the film, the character name is like Kevin Chan or something like that. And he plays Jackie, and he essentially is working with the CIA, obviously for the Hong Kong police, but he's working with the CIA and Interpol to essentially track an illegal arms dealer. And, I mean, that is what the film is. Jackie gets, as per usual, he gets in way over his head. You know, he's hired by, or he's working with some Russian KGB type of cats that turn out to be not Russian KGB sort of cats. They're more so the villains. And it's actually kind of surprising. I didn't really see that coming the first time I saw this in the 90s. And this film, you know, this is a 90s Jackie Chan film through and through. I mean, it is exemplary of his work that he was doing in the 90s. And this one absolutely has that international feel that Jackie Chan was going for pretty much, you know, throughout the 80s and the 90s, and even today, he's still trying to go for that international diversity, you know, multiple languages, multiple ethnic groups, you know, acting in his movies, and it has an international feel and vibe that I've never seen in any other films, you know, and I'm not talking about this in particular, I'm talking about all these films, you know, Rumble in the Bronx, Operation Condor films, you know, the Police Story films. They just have an international vibe. Mr. Nice Guy, Accidental Spy, and they all fit within that sphere of just diverse movies, and it just has that charm that I just absolutely, I melt watching these movies. I love it, and no movies come close to that vibe, that international vibe that Jackie gets with his movies, especially from the 80s and 90s. So yeah, it's a really straightforward plot, guys. I'm not going to dig too deep into it. If you're watching a 90s Jackie Chan film, you know what to expect. I mean, you know, he's trying to get from A to B, and there are all these detours and twists and turns, and he gets framed for a murder of one of the main character's fathers, and he's just constantly caught up in shit, and he's just being Jackie 110% in this movie, and it's infinitely entertaining. So as I've been talking about, there's a certain charm with the Americanization of a lot of the Jackie Chan films, like Operation Condor, and Super Cop, and this one, and Rumble in the Bronx. You know, there's a charm to it, but unfortunately, in this movie's case, and I'm sure some of his other films, in this movie's case, 20 minutes of footage was cut by New Line, which would have made this film, what, run at around 100, yeah, about 100 minutes, little under 100 minutes, and, I mean, why would you cut anything from a Jackie Chan film, unless it was just needless filler, but I highly doubt that all 20 minutes that they cut didn't involve Jackie doing Jackie things. So I'm upset that I still haven't seen the full version, the full Hong Kong version of this film. Also, another thing that was cut that pisses me off was Jackie. You know how Jackie usually sings his theme songs for his movies, especially Police Story 1 and 2, that's the most famous example? They changed it. They changed the friggin' Jackie song that he sung for this movie, and I'm not sure if the song he sung was supposed to go over the intro credits, but like a lot of these New Line Americanizations, they completely changed the intro. Same thing with the Operation Condor movies over here. The intro is using music from the 90s when it should be from the 80s, and it's so out of place and sort of, what's the word, anachronistic. It just doesn't fit, and it's so clearly done afterwards as an afterthought to Americanize it, and it just drives me insane. So if they cut his friggin' song, and it was probably going to go over the intro or at least over the ending sequence, and that pisses me off, because I love when Jackie sings. Is he the greatest singer? No. Is he a good singer? Yes, and I really enjoy his songs. I love anything the man does, so I wanted to hear that song. And another thing they do is just, they usually add like really bad 90s, mid to late 90s hip-hop songs. I'm a big fan of hip-hop, especially 90s, but they always pick these obscure-ass songs that are just so out of place, and I remember there's like a Tupac song in Super Cop that just starts playing out of nowhere after like a Hong Kong inspired score. It's like, what the f are they thinking? Drives me nuts, but it is what it is. Another aspect of the film that was changed, apparently the Hong Kong version has, because this film involves, I mean, we've got Australians, we've got Russians, we've got the Chinese, we've got all sorts of languages going on, and so they redubbed everything in English, just redubbed everything, but in the Hong Kong version, everything was subtitled, which I think will add to the international appeal of these films, and of course Americans are ridiculously stupid and don't like to read subtitles, and so yeah, that's another aggravating aspect. So what do we watch Jackie Chan films for? We watch them most of the time for the action, and this has some of the most diverse set pieces in any Jackie Chan film, and they are all phenomenal. The stunts are literally insane, I'll get into it, and the action choreography is just on point. I'm pretty sure Stanley, Tong, and Jackie Chan worked together to shoot the action sequences because they really feel like Jackie Chan shot action sequences. So let's go over some of the set pieces. So the first big set piece is a ski lodge, where Jackie is snowboarding while being shot at with machine gunning skiers, and he is just going down this slope in not much clothes at all, no helmet, he's just going for it, and he's really doing it, of course. You know, Jackie Chan does everything for real. And so the scene is intense, the action shot perfectly, it's snowy, it's got a unique look to it, obviously, and that's where the diversity comes in. And so the end of the scene ends with him hitting a ramp, grabbing onto a helicopter, and just before the helicopter blows up from one of the enemies, I believe he had a bazooka, he shoots the bazooka, and just before the fucking thing blows up, Jackie Chan drops, with a briefcase, by the way, it's one of those get the briefcase movies where the briefcase has important information. He drops into a frozen lake, partially frozen lake, with obviously freezing water, and he really does it. He is under this freezing water, and he's going like this, blowing on his hands, and he's acting. Sure, he's doing his Jackie thing, but I'm pretty sure he most likely got frostbite of some kind, because he had no layers of clothes on, not that it would matter too much underwater, but he has one thin shirt on, which he shows to one guy. He's like, the guy's like, "Are you cold?" He's like, "Look, yes, I'm cold. Nothing underneath this." And so he's in this freezing water for, takes that are not short. We're talking 5 to 10 second takes here, where he's just in pain, freezing to death, quite literally. And it's just, like I said, insane. One of his most insane stunts. Like, I love Jackie Chan. I don't know what else to say about that. So the next action set piece that really stands out was he's on a high-rise building. And, he gets, the Hong Kong police set him up with this really nice hotel. He's got a koala bear randomly in the hotel, like a real koala. I say koala bear, they're not really bears, they're marsupials, but a koala. And so what happens is, somebody knocks on the door, two dudes come in, and the shot is fantastic, because it's from the other side of the door with Jackie Chan opening it, and Jackie Chan's not a tall man. And there are these giant men. I mean, I don't know where these men are made, like in Aryan genetics labs or something. These dudes are just humongous people. And they kick Jackie Chan right through the door frame, and the action sequence starts, and it just basically is Jackie Chan running away from these two gigantic people, trying to figure out a way to defeat them, like a David Goliath sort of thing. And again, another insane stunt. He goes outside of the building, outside of the windows, and he is, we're up, 50, 60 stories high. If you fall, you're dead. And Jackie jumps from a ledge down to this little platform and lands and acts as if he almost fell, or maybe he did almost fall, who knows with the type of stunts he does. And he is looking down, the camera work is so, I catch vertigo with these shots. It's acrophobia at its finest. And He's hopping from ledge to ledge and shimmying along the edges while the big dudes are trying to figure out a way to get him. There's one shot where Jackie just sits down on a ledge with the two guys on opposite sides, and he's just like, come on. He's like, come on, motherfuckers, let's go. You want to fight? Let's go on this little-ass ledge. And it's just so awesome. And then we get to one of his more popular, famous sequences, action scenes from this movie, and that's the ladder scene. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's essentially a scene where Jackie gets into this big warehouse with a whole bunch of security guards of the person that he's trying to find to help clear his name. And so he beats these dudes up with a ladder, quite literally. I mean, it's a fucking 4 or 5 minute scene with him spinning a ladder around. It looks like a very lightweight ladder, but obviously it could still hurt. It's aluminum. And he's spinning it around and opening it and closing it and smacking people with it and like flipping it over his head and jumping through the rungs. I mean, it's crazy. And it's just a fast-paced, balls-to-the-wall sequence that's cut perfectly, shot perfectly, and just, it's spacious, so it gives Jackie and his team enough room to kind of work in, and it is one of the best scenes in the film. Definitely one of the best choreographed action sequences in terms of what Jackie does best. So, as you can see, guys, just scene after scene, and it doesn't stop there. I want to keep talking about these set pieces instead of the plot, because that's what this film is all about. There's one that takes place in during a Chinese parade, where we get a shootout, we get fisticuffs, pretty well choreographed stuff. And one really cool thing is Jackie's got a sniper on him, essentially, that could take him out, him and his buddy that he's working with. And Jackie is on stilts. We're talking, 8-foot high stilts, 6 to 8 feet high. And he's got all of his buddies around him, and they have umbrellas. And so they all deploy their umbrellas, and so now the sniper doesn't have a shot. It's just a really clever usage of the props. And yes, Jackie Chan kicks a whole bunch of dudes' faces on stilts, and it looks so fluid and so fantastic. So we get a fight sequence where Jackie Chan's fucking people up on stilts. This is what I mean with the diversity of the action sequences in this film. So that's that one, and then we get to the big final set piece, which is, again, so unique. I've never seen anything like it. It's about a 8 to 10 minute scene of Jackie Chan underwater trying to get this, essentially this miniature nuclear warhead that's in a fire extinguisher capsule or something. And he's trying to get it, and so he's juggling around with the bad guys and everything, and they are underwater, and it's a choreographed fight sequence underwater. If that's not crazy enough, and it's shot remarkably, even though it's in slow motion, and the sound effects are perfect, they're like your typical psh psh, but they're kind of subdued because they're underwater. So the sound design's on point. Actually, I don't know if it would make any sound underwater, but you need something for a film. Not only are they underwater, where Jackie Chan doesn't, he has air, but the guys he's fighting are fully equipped in scuba gear and everything, and he's just in the same shirt and pants that he was in the whole movie. And so the whole scene, basically they're going back and forth. Jackie's tricking them to try to get the air and get some breath so he can continue fighting. And not only is all that going on, which is enough, there are live sharks in the water above Jackie and the people he's fighting, just swimming in the water. Now, I think there are some prosthetic sharks in this scene, I'm pretty sure, in fact. If not, then I'm surprised. Sometimes sharks could have that uncanny valley sort of look anyway, like real sharks. They could look a little fake because of the creepy, eerie way that they move. But there are definitely real sharks in a tank, underwater, submerged, damn near close to Jackie, right above his head. And that's insane. I mean, that is ridiculous. You can't train a shark, as far as I know. They are primal predators, and they will fucking eat you if they want to eat you. So maybe they fed these sharks as much as they could beforehand. I don't know how they did it. I need to find some special features or something to see. Yeah, so that's madness. So eventually they get out of this the main villain, which is like a Russian dude, he shoots a shotgun and breaks the tank, which lets all the water out. And then, essentially, it ends, the action sequence and the film ends with Jackie jumping a convertible into a fleeting boat that has one of the main character's sisters, a hostage. And so he jumps this ramp, and I don't know if he was really driving, but the car flies through the air and into the boat, into the back of the boat. The bad guys' faces are priceless. They're like, what? What? What is he doing? And so the boat slams into the the car slams into the boat, and that's really how the film wraps up. Jackie Chan, of course, saves the day. Now, I was mentioning some other characters. I might as well say what they were. Jackson Chewie plays a character named Jackson, who's like a Chinese-American nuclear scientist, and he's really the crux, sort of the story, because he's who the Russians, all the bad guys are after, because they want the warhead. And I guess it's some super high-tech nuclear warhead or something that everybody wants. And so this dude's like a triple agent or something, and he's good, he's fine, he doesn't have too much to do, but he does what he's supposed to do fine. I've seen him in a couple other movies, but none that I can think of right now. And essentially, he has a sister who Jackie Chan ends up saving at the end of the film, and this dude's father is like a triad leader. It's all kind of impertinent stuff, to be honest with you. It's not really vital to the story. I mean, it is, but it's kind of hard to follow, to be quite honest. But that's essentially who the other characters are in the film, and there are constant double crosses, and Jackie and him finally end up working together after they realize they have a common goal here. And that's really kind of wrapping up the characters and the story there. Sorry I went on that tangent about the action, because again, that's really what I wanted to talk about with this film. So, Jackie Chan's First Strike, it's a phenomenal action flick by any standard. One of Jackie's, I'd say, top 15 for me. And like when I say that, that's not a negative, because like I said, he has so many films that I think are damn near perfect or perfect. So maybe even top 10. It might be top 10. And I love First Strike. I wish there were more movies like this with Jackie, that he was doing in the 2000s. Things other like Tuxedo, I'm okay with, but I wish he kept doing stuff like this. And Rush Hour, I like Rush Hour, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I'm so nostalgic for the films like Rumble in the Bronx, Super Cop, Operation Condor, Mr. Nice Guy, Accidental Spy even, which was one of the... Medallion, I like Medallion, I don't care. It's got some annoying characters, but yeah, Police Story, all those, this fits right in with them. And Stanley Tong does a phenomenal job with directing. Jackie is on his A game. I'd say this is his prime, early to mid-90s, maybe mid-80s to mid-90s is really his prime. And yeah, check it out if you haven't seen this Jackie Chan film. It's one that and one of the reasons why I want to talk about it is, well, for one, I love it, and for two, this film doesn't get talked about too much when you talk about Jackie Chan in the film circles. So, First Strike, also known as Police Story 4, directed by Stanley Tong, starring Jackie, one of his best. And if you haven't seen it, absolutely check it out. So thank you guys for checking out my new sort of off-the-cuff reviews. These are probably going to end up being longer because it's just me kind of spewing information out, whereas my scripted videos, all the thoughts, it's very well thought out, and all the thoughts that I want to get out, I perfect and I do it. That's why those end up being around 12 to 15 minutes. So these videos are probably going to be a little bit longer. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. That way I know that I can continue doing these and you guys will continue to enjoy them and watch them. I love doing this kind of stuff because my passion really comes out for these movies. And hopefully you guys see that, and hopefully you guys learn something new about the movie as well. And if you haven't seen it, hopefully it leads you to check it out. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button, as well as the little bell for notifications. And let me know what you guys think about this movie, because this is part of the reason why I want to do this, because I love talking about individual films with you guys. So let me know what you think about First Strike and where it stands on your Jackie Chan hierarchy or your Jackie Chan list. I'd love to get a discussion going. Anyways, guys, I will see you next time. Bored Cyborg, out.